copywriters, happy Monday. Welcome to your Monday Morning Jumpstart. I am Jade Trueblood, and I'm very lucky to be rejoined by Nick Usborne. Hi, Nick.
Hi there.
If you haven't been listening, Nick and I have been talking about what has helped him be so successful and help with his longevity in his career. He's given us great insights and been very vulnerable and unpacking what has helped him. So now, Nick, for our last session today, what do you think is something that can really help others that I feel like is really easy to apply and to do straight away, right?
All right. We can do this in 10 seconds and then we'll go and have a beer or something. No,
Okay.
don't have a beer on Monday morning. All right.
Says
Here's
who?
my advice. Work harder than the other person. Just work harder. So can I share some stories?
Please.
I'll tell you some
Nonsense.
stories. I'll tell you, I think I got 3 stories lined up. Okay. One is I'm a farm boy. I was raised on a farm, working farm. And on Friday afternoon, I would line up with the other workers on the farm, and I'd have given them my timesheet on the Thursday, and then I'd get a few pennies in a brown envelope on the Friday. I'd line up with the workmen from the workers on the farm, the adults, and as an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, I'd go and get my wages on the Friday. And I think I was about 13 or 14, and I was talking to some people at school, and somebody talked about pocket money. And I said, what's pocket money? And they said, well, it's like allowance. It's like the money your parents give. And I said, your parents give you money? I said, my
I've
parents
been conned.
yeah, I've been like, what the? So I go home and I said, what is this? So that was a really interesting lesson for me, like as a little kid, because I worked for every penny, every
Yeah,
penny of pocket money I ever had. I worked for it and I
yeah,
billed by the hour. It'd be like pennies an hour
yeah,
as an
yeah.
8-year-old. But that was a really interesting like work ethic point of view. Okay, next story.
Before you go there, can I say something on that? Because I feel like it's what's made me as successful as I've become to this day, is that something that you probably did and you don't realize, I don't know if you realize it, is that when I'm willing to work really hard, knowing that it's going to pay off and that it's going to come back to me, but not expecting it to be an immediate
Yeah,
thing. Does that make sense? Like
yeah,
I will do more for my job without expecting the direct raise or direct bonus or direct, payoff for it. Know that it's going to come back to me on the Friday when I start, you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
not always an immediate hit for being willing to do that work on the farm.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's like,
Carry on.
so for me, I'm probably a borderline workaholic, which is not entirely
Okay.
helpful.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, in fact, my mental health depends on moving forward,
Mm.
working. Like my mental health is almost equates to riding a bicycle. If you stop moving, you fall over. That's me, right? So I'm always working because otherwise, like I stop and it's like, hang on, what am I meant to be doing? And like,
Yeah.
so the next thing is like when I was at school, I was never the smartest kid in the class. There
Hmm.
was always like there was some really smart people, always some smart people in class. But then back then in England, we had these things called O levels. So these were state exams that you took when you were 16. And I took them and the results came back and I had my results were the best in the history of the entire school ever. So the headmaster sent them back to the board, the education board, said, no, there must be some mistake here. This is just Nick Osborne. All right, let's get serious. And they came back and said, no, no, really, these are the results.
Oh my gosh.
So he kind of said, oh, okay, and I got some kind of scholarship out of it. But the point is, I was never the smartest person in the class, but I was very often and almost always the hardest working person in the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just got ahead by working harder.
Yeah.
And in fact, the headmaster, like I was burning out, like after that, and the headmaster took me aside and said, look, all well and good, but you need to set some limits, like the beginning of your day, the end of your day, like finish at 6 or finish at like organize your time. Don't always
Yeah.
be working. It's not good for you.
Yeah.
So that was a really good lesson I learned from him. And it's something I've shared kind of as a coach, which brings me on to my third story, like as a coach. So this is tough love coming up. You're at Monday morning, tough love.
Right. Already.
Sometimes as a coach, I would say to the person, the person I'm working with, hey, all right, so look, by next time we call next week, like get out there and do some prospecting or whatever, or build your website, or some task. There'd always be some task between coaching sessions. And then the next week's call would come and I'd say, hey, how's it going? And maybe he'd say, oh, I got nothing. I tried, I tried a whole bunch of emails and coaching and call outbound calls and stuff. And I said, well, how many people did he call? And he said, like, oh, 4. And I'm like, this is what I didn't say. This is what I felt like saying, but what I didn't say, because I try to be nice and sensitive. I was like, what I didn't say was, dude, are you serious? I could have done that before breakfast on Monday.
Yeah.
What were you doing for the rest of the week? Watching reruns of Oprah? Like, seriously. And it's like, oh, I said, how's the website going? And it's like, oh, well, I'm still, and again, on the inside, I'm thinking, seriously? I'd have built that within 24 hours of our conversation. And I would have, and I do. It's what I do. It's like, if I'm going to do something, I freaking do it. Like, and I work it and I put the hours in and I work harder than. So if you want to talk about like a bit of Nick aggression coming out here, but that is it. That's part of what has made me like the success I have achieved. A lot of it is that, like, if I'm going to do something, I just do it.
Yeah.
I don't half do it. I don't quarter do it. I do it, and I put in the work. I put in the hours to do it. Ask my wife, ask my family. Like, yeah, I work hard, and when I work hard, like, it's hilarious sometimes. My wife and daughter, like, I'll be working. My wife and daughter will be behind me and to the side of me, and they're dancing and going blah, 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 blah. I have no idea. I'm working. All right. Like, yeah. I have 100% concentration. I'm focusing on what I'm doing. I'm putting in the time. And then, eventually I'll listen, I'll hear this laughter and I'll say, what? And I'll say, it's been 10 minutes. We've been trying to wake you up, but you've just been. And so I get stuff done. I can build a website. I'll do it in a weekend. And it's not because I have the technical chops. It's just that I say, okay, I just sit down and do it. Yeah. So I've worked as a coach with dozens of clients, and some of them are amazing in what they do and what they've achieved. But in too many cases, and again, I try to be super supportive. I'm not bad like I have been here. I don't say seriously, do. But in far too many cases, people just put in like the minimum effort, and then they're shocked that nothing happened. Like, why am I not successful? You're not successful because you haven't put in the work. Like, if you called 50 prospects instead of 4, I guarantee you'd have landed a job this week.
Yes.
All right. Just put in the time. All right.
Yeah. And sacrifice, don't you think? Because with that, when you're building and when you're changing, like you're saying, your family's dancing around you, so you're clearly not with them. You've got to be willing to sacrifice something for a bit to work hard, to gain that momentum, to get and accomplish that thing. It doesn't always have to last forever, but yeah, there's a little bit of sacrifice that comes with success.
There is, but you can kind of manage. Like, say, I was saying in another one of our conversations that often, like, I go out and exercise at about 4:30. Like, I generally stop at 4:30. Now, I might dip back in the evening sometimes if I'm really excited about something, but I work really, really hard till 4:30, and then I get physically active, whether I'm, cycling or kayaking or cross-country skiing or whatever. But yeah, I'll do something physical, and then I'm there for my family. And then when things settle down in the evening, maybe I'll put in another hour or something. Yeah. But I think, and it's, our industry in a sense is at fault, because if you look at the way we market stuff, or not we, but the industry markets, it's easy, man. If I can do this, anyone can do this. Here's the easy button. Just take these 3 steps and you'll be a gazillionaire by Tuesday. And it's all nonsense. It's like, there isn't an easy button. It's like, what we're trying to do here is it's not easy. You have to put in the learning time. You have to put in the execution time. You have to work harder. And I think if you want to be successful as a freelancer right now, because there are so many people, I think, who don't work harder.
Yes.
You don't have to work that hard to be ahead of the crowd.
To be working hard. Yeah.
It's a low bar. Bar.
Yeah.
So if you just like that commitment, and I've met people who are like me and more like, and more who just like, they say, okay, I will do this. That's the other thing. If you say you're going to do something, whether it's to a client or to yourself, do it.
Yeah.
Like do what you say you're going to do. Like the commitment to yourself. Okay, I'm going to do this thing by the end of the week. Do it. Don't
Or
make
you stop
excuses for
believing
it.
in yourself, right?
Yeah,
You,
don't
I
make
think,
excuses for yourself. Oh yeah, but it was a difficult week because I had to go to the dentist, and then there was a snowstorm, and then the dog got sick. Don't do that. Just like no, I know life can get in the way, and then
yeah.
so you recover the next week. But just don't use life gets in the way, but don't use it as an excuse.
And
And like
everything we're talking about pays off. You know what I mean?
it does, it does. It's like I said, I got that school. It's ridiculous. I got the best exam result in the history of the school, and the school had been there for over 100 years. And it is simply because I worked harder than the other guys.
Yeah.
Say in a class there'd be 4 or 5 people who were definitely smarter than me. All I had to do was work harder than those 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
They had a natural advantage. I had to work at the hard work advantage.
I'll never forget. I don't know if they still do this, but back home when I was in school, they separated you by like A class, B class, C class, like that. And I was at the bottom of the top, right? So I always did enough to stay in the A class and make my parents happy. But I'll never forget that one of our teachers always said to us that in real world and in real life, that those people that are in the C class are probably going to be the most successful because they're having to work hard to be in that class and to do well in school and to pass. It's not just coming to them, right? So when they're in the real world where you have to work hard to have things come to you, it's not just about remembering the year of which a certain war was. You actually have to work, they're going to end up being more successful because they're used to and willing to work hard. So get the results. Yep.
Interesting.
And your name is still on a plaque there, Nick, at your old school.
It is. I think it's on a couple of a couple of schools. Yeah, they had these scholarship boards where they'd hand paint your name and the year of your scholarship and stuff.
Look at you. Look at
Somewhere out
you.
there. Somewhere. Yeah, look at me. Look at me.
I'm going to say that next time I have to intro, and like he was the smartest kid in his entire school in 100-year history. So listen to what he has to say.
I wasn't the smartest.
Sorry, the hardest working. I almost forgot the whole entire lesson. The hardest working. I love that, Nick.
It's such an easy win in a sense because you don't have to be smarter. You don't have to know more. You don't have to have technical chops. You don't have to, all those things where you think, oh yeah, but the other guy, the other girl, like whatever. This is like, to work hard is accessible to all of us.
Yes.
You don't need qualifications to work hard or training to work. You just have to put in the work. So this makes success accessible to everyone. You just work harder than the other person.
I love that. I love that. And I also just lost the thought that I was going to say, but that's been the theme. No, this has been fantastic. So if anybody hasn't heard the other lessons that Nick taught us, we talked about leaning into change. We talked about being curious. We talked about being okay and comfortable with making mistakes and kind of just knowing that that's going to happen. And now I think, like you said, ending up on the most accessible of all, being willing and able to work hard. And that's what I was going to say. It always feels good when you do. It feels like it empowers you and it activates something in you as well that feels good. So it serves all parties. It's not just.
That's a perfect word for it. Empowerment.
Yes.
It's empowering, and it is totally kind of democratic in that it's accessible to anyone. Anyone can work harder.
Yes, I love it. Well, Nick, thank you so much for being our special guest. I'm sure we will see you again in the future. And Nick is always tied to AWAI. We've got him on a rope here. So if you want to learn any more about him, keep in tune. And you've got plenty of stuff published on our website, and Nick has tons of courses with us. So he's always around. And Nick, we are grateful for you, and I love catching up and speaking with you.
Likewise, it's been a pleasure.
Have a fantastic day, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.